Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. So today we are going to talk about the A2 math, specifically the P3 exam. So today we will be discussing the very first chapter, that is algebra, and we would be talking about the very first unit, that is the modulus function. So let's get started. Let me share my screen. Okay. So I've shared the whiteboard and today we are going to talk about the modulus function. So it is the modulus function. Okay. So first of all, before talking about any other thing, let's just discuss the formal definition of the modulus function. So I will be writing down the definition first. Okay, so the mod or the modulus function f of x equals x mod is defined as x mod equals x for x greater than equal to 0 and x mod equals minus x for x less than 0. All right. Okay. So this is basically the formal definition of the modulus function that we need to discuss. So let's talk about the definition first and then we'll talk about the remaining contents. Okay. So as per the formal definition, the mod function is basically defined or denoted with these two straight lines. The mod function is basically f of x equals x mod. Okay, so mod function is basically the two straight lines we are writing down around x. How exactly is it defined? If x is positive, we are writing down x as it is. Okay, it says if x is greater than or equal to 0, we are writing down x as it is. But if x is negative, if x is less than 0, then we are writing down minus x. This means if I have minus 3 mod, I will be writing down minus into minus 3. Why? Because since then we would be talking about this part of the domain, that is the negative one, and we write down a minus sign. So this is giving me positive 3. Then if I have positive 3, it would be coming in this part and I will be writing down x as it is. So I would be writing down 3 as it is. It means that in short and simple, mod is basically converting a negative number into a positive number. That is it. This is how we define mod. Okay. If you are not able to understand this definition written in the box, it's completely fine. All you need to understand is that whenever we would be having mod around any function, that would basically be converted to a positive version of it if it is not already positive. But if it is already positive, we would be writing it as it is. Okay, let's discuss some more examples in order to understand this concept completely. Mod of minus 4 is going to be 4. Mod of minus 100 is going to be positive 100. Mod of 5 would be 5 because 5 is already positive. Mod of 6 is 6. Mod of 7 is 7. Mod of minus 8 is 8. So now we know we are defining mod this way using these two straight lines, and if the function or if the number written inside the mod is negative, we are writing down its positive version, but if the number was already positive, we are writing it down directly. Okay, so this is basically a formal example and some definitions about the mod function. What we need to understand is how do we solve equations involving mod. That is what we need to understand. So in this class, We will be discussing two things. Number one, an equation containing mod. Number two, an inequality containing mod. So let's talk about that now. I will be erasing all of this. We don't need this now. We are clear with the idea. If anyone was not able to understand the idea behind mod, it's completely fine. Just know mod is a function that is converting a negative number to a positive number. That is it. And if the number is already positive, then fair enough. We don't care about it. But if the number is negative, then we change it to a positive number. All right. Okay. Let's talk about the very first example. That is an equation containing mod. So imagine an example that says x plus 2 mod equals to 3x mod. Now in this question, this is not a linear equation. This is a modulus equation, and in order to solve this, we have a fixed method. So let's talk about it, okay? We have a fixed method that we can use every time we come across such type of a question. Let's talk about the solution. So, square both sides of the equation and remove mod. This is what you need to understand. Okay, this is what we will be doing every time. Okay, you need to square both sides of the equation. So we need to write it down this way. So I have squared both sides of the equation and I have removed the modulus sign. Okay. All right, that is it. Now, this is what I had originally, and this is an equivalent version of the modulus equation I had in the question. Now, I have a simple quadratic equation. So, I know how to solve a quadratic equation. I will be expanding x plus 2. This would give me x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 9x squared. This would give me minus 9x squared plus x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 0 minus 8x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 0. I will take 4 common and negative common as well, and it would give me 2x, 2x squared plus x plus 1 equals 0. This is what we will get. Okay, since I've taken minus common, so this sign and this one would change. Okay, so it would become minus x and then minus 1. And finally, this would be the equation 2x squared minus x minus 1 equals 0. I need two numbers such that when I multiply them, I get minus 2x squared, and when I add them, I get positive I get negative 1. Okay, so the two numbers are basically going to be 2x squared. Then we are going to have minus 2x, then plus x minus 1 equals 0. I can take 2x common, x minus 1, then 1 common, x minus 1 equals 0, and it would give me 2x plus 1 and x minus 1 equals 0. So this would give me x equals minus 1 by 2, and it would give me x equals 1 as the answer. So I will give you a detailed summary about this topic, so please pay attention. All right, now basically this is the very first unit of the very first chapter of the P3A2 mathematics, that is the modulus function. If I talk about an example or a basic interpretation of the modulus function. Just think about it as a function that is converting negative numbers to their positive versions, and it is not going to make any difference in a positive function. So for example, mod of 3 would be 3, mod of 4 would be 4, but mod of minus 3 and mod of minus 4 would be 3 and 4. Okay, so mod is only going to work on the negative functions, on the negative numbers. It depends. This time around, if you look at the example, we have two functions inside the mod, right? So whatever thing you have inside mod, if it is negative, mod is going to convert it to its positive version. That is it. Okay, the very first example is basically an equation with modulus functions, and in order to solve this equation we have one fixed method that we will be using every time. Okay, so it says square both sides of the equation and remove mod. So the equation was basically x plus 2 equals 3x. In order to solve this, we need to square both sides. So I squared the left side and the right side, and I've removed mod. Now what do I see? This is what I had in the beginning, and this is what I have after converting the red function to the green one. Okay. Now the green function is basically a quadratic equation, and I easily know how to simplify any quadratic equation, right? Okay, so we have x plus 2 whole squared equals 3x squared. Now it's very, very simple. I've just expanded, I've simplified, and this was my quadratic equation. I have entered the two factors, I got this, and x was equal to minus 1 by 2 and x is equal to 1. So this would be the solution of my modulus equation. All right. So this was the very first example, and this is going to be the answer. All right. The next thing is basically an inequality which we need to solve. Okay, so let's talk about it now. Now I am going to just erase this, and I will be writing down the next example. All right. Okay, so the next one is basically solving an inequality. It's question number 2. Solve the inequality 4x plus 3 mod is greater than 2x minus 1 mod. Okay, this is the second question which we need to solve. Now again, it's not a linear inequality, it's different. We usually think that whenever the power of x is 1 or the highest power of x is 1, then that very thing is going to be a linear equation or a linear inequality, but that's not true. Okay, we need to be sure about the fact that if it has straight brackets around it, that is basically the modulus function. So this is certainly not a linear inequality. Again, the method and the working is going to be same here as well. Okay, let's solve this. Solution. So we are going to do it this way. Squaring both sides of the inequality. Okay, that is step number 1. So I am going to square both sides of the inequality and remove mod. So the left side of the inequality is 4x plus 3. I will square it. That's greater than 2x minus 1 squared. So this is what I had in the question, and this is an equivalent inequality. Okay, so we need to understand it this way. So whenever we have the mod function, we can just square that and both of them would be equivalent. Okay, all right, now I just need to simplify this quadratic inequality. So let me make some lines here because this would take a few steps. So it would become 16x squared plus 2 into 4x into 3 plus 9 is greater than 4x squared minus 2 into 2x and then plus 1. 16x squared plus 24x plus 9 and then minus 4x squared plus 4x minus 1 is greater than 0. 12x squared plus 28x plus 8 is greater than 0. And then I can take 4 common. So when I will take 4 common, I would be left with 3x squared plus 7x plus 2 greater than 0. And finally, my quadratic inequality is going to be 3x squared plus 7x plus 2 is greater than 0. Okay, that's simple. Lastly, I need to factorize it because this is how we solve any quadratic inequality. So two numbers that when I multiply them, I get 6x squared, and when I add them, I get 7x. So the numbers are going to be 6 and 1. So 3x squared plus 6x plus x plus 2 greater than 0. 3x would be common, x plus 2, and then I can take 1 common, x plus 2 greater than 0, and I would get 3x plus 1 and x plus 2 greater than 0. Now, since all of you who are watching this video, I'm pretty sure would be coming from the AS maths. So we know in order to solve a quadratic inequality, we need to plot the graph because only the plotting of graph would make things easier for us. Okay. Always remember, in case of a quadratic inequality, you're not supposed to just write down the answer directly. You can't say that the two factors are 3x plus 1 and x plus 2 greater than 0. So you can't say that 3x plus 1 is greater than 0 and x plus 2 is greater than 0. It could be other way around. It could be that both are negative, because when both are negative and they multiply to negative numbers, that also gives us positive. Okay. So one strategy and one method that works for this case is basically this one, that you need to make the graph. So for the graph, I am going to make the y-axis, the x-axis, and I know that it would be x equals minus 1 by 3, and it would be x equals minus 2. So it would be minus 1 by 3 and it would be minus 2. And when I will multiply both the terms, it would give me positive x squared. So when the coefficient of x squared would be positive, it would be a U-shaped graph. So I'm just supposed to make a rough sketch of it. Okay, now this is basically the graph of y equals 3x plus 1 into x plus 2, and it is greater than 0. If this is greater than 0, If this part is greater than 0, then it means y would be greater than 0. When y is greater than 0, we would be focusing on the positive y-axis. So I would be focusing on this part and I would be focusing on this part. So it would give me that x is greater than -1/3 or x is less than -2. I'm pretty sure all of you would be clear till this that the modulus equation can be converted to a quadratic equation or a quadratic inequality. And I'm sure that you guys would be clear till this step, this one. But after this step, you need to understand we are not supposed to write the answer directly. You need to make the graph, okay? So you can make the graph whatever way you're comfortable. It should be a quadratic parabola. And since this thing is greater than 0, it means y would be greater than 0. So we would be focusing on the positive y-axis. And when we would be focusing on the positive y-axis, we need to focus on those parts of the graph. So those parts of the graph are basically this one and this one. So it would be x is less than -2 and x is greater than -1/3. Okay. All right. So this is what we need to understand here. Okay. All right, so that is it. This was basically how we solve a quadratic inequality. Obviously, we have multiple ways. We have some other ways as well. But for now, this method is okay. Let's talk about one more question. And then that is it. All right, so I am going to erase all of this. And I am going to talk about the third example now. So let's talk about the third question. It is basically x minus 1 mod is greater than or equal to 4. Okay. Now, students, the reason behind doing this question is just to show you that this time around only one side has mod, but still the working, the method, the idea is going to be same. I will be squaring both sides of the inequality. So when I will square both sides of the inequality, this would become x minus 1 squared greater than equal to 4 squared, and this would be x squared minus 2x plus 1 greater than equal to 16, x squared minus 2x plus 1 minus 16 is greater than equal to 0, and it would give me x squared minus 2x minus 15 is greater than equal to 0. Next, I'm just supposed to simplify this. How do we simplify this? I need to find the two factors. So it would be minus 5x and positive 3x, and then minus 15 greater than equal to 0. I can take x common. X minus 5, I can take 3 common. X minus 5 is greater than equal to 0. So the factors would be x plus 3 and x minus 5 greater than equal to 0. Again, once we are done with this part, you are just supposed to make the parabola. It's x plus 3 and it's x minus 5. So it would be minus 3 and it is going to be positive 5. And now I know that I will multiply x and x, or if I focus on this one, it has positive x squared. So this is going to be the graph of it. Now I need to assume that it's y equals this. So again, they are talking about this part of the graph, and then they are talking about these points basically. So for this one, x is greater than 5, and for this one, x is less than minus 3. So finally, the answer is going to be x is less than minus 3 or x is greater than 5. So this is going to be the answer of the question. All right, okay. So yes, that was basically the third question from the same topic. All right, and if I talk about one more equation, so this is going to be the last question for today. It is basically the fourth question, and it says mod of 5x minus 2 equals mod of 2x. Again, I will be solving this by squaring both sides of the equation. So 5x minus 2 squared equals 2x squared. So it's simple. We don't know how to solve a modulus equation, but we know how to solve a quadratic equation. We can just convert the modulus equation to a quadratic equation by squaring both sides. And this would become 25x squared minus 2 into 5x into 2 plus 4 equals 4x squared, and this would become 25x squared minus 4x squared minus 20x plus 4 equals 0, and it would give you 21x squared minus 20x plus 4 equals 0. All right, so again, in the beginning, we had a modulus equation and we have converted it to a quadratic one. So this would give you 5x squared. It would be 25x squared minus 2 into 5x into 2. And it would be 10 multiplied by 2 is 20. And it would be this and this, okay? 25 minus 4 is 21 minus 20 plus 4. Okay, now I can't take anything common. So I know that 21 multiplied by 4 is basically 84x squared. So I need two numbers such that when I multiply them, I get 84x squared, and when I subtract them, I get 20 basically. So we need to find those numbers, okay? All right, so the two factors are 14 and 6. 21x squared minus 14x minus 6x plus 4 equals 0. I can take 7x common, it would give me 3x minus 2. I can take minus 2 common, it would give me 3x minus 2 equals 0. And finally, I am going to get 7x minus 2 and 3x minus 2 equals 0. So it would give me x equals 2 by 7, and it would give me x equals 2 by 3. So this is going to be the answer for this one. So that is it. Today we discussed the modulus function. That was basically the very first unit of algebra. That is the first chapter of P3 maths. And for now we know modulus function is basically defined to convert any negative number to a positive number, and if that number is positive, the modulus function would not make any difference. Okay, lastly, it could be any inequality, it could be a simple equation. Modulus function is basically going to help you converting that negative thing to positive. In order to solve it, you're just supposed to square both sides of the equation or inequality, and that modulus equation or that modulus inequality would be converted to a quadratic equation or quadratic inequality, right? Okay, then we have just expanded it and we got a quadratic equation and we factorized and we got x equals 2 by 7 and x equals 2 by 3. So this is basically the story behind the modulus function. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I'll be stop sharing the screen. If you're interested in more videos of this type, then please use the link in description to get yourselves enrolled for our live classes. And if you have any queries, any questions, feel free to ask me. Then I'll see you in the next video. Take care, all of you, and Allah Hafiz.